in the previous lecture, I have started the synthesis of alpha amino acids, and we are continuing the synthesis of alpha amino acids in this lecture also. Now, the second method of synthesis of, for the synthesis of alpha amino acid is sticker synthesis. Now, what is sticker synthesis? In which we have taken this aldehyde molecule, and this aldehyde is reacted with ammonium chloride and forming an imine intermediate, and when this imine is reacted with hydrogen cyanide, giving cyanide, and this cyanide and this cyanide is hydrolyzed, give this carbonic acid. This is alpha amino acids. Okay. Now, how does this amine is formed over here? Actually, we know that this ammonium chloride can give this ammonia and hydrochloric acid, and this ammonia react with this aldehyde molecule to give this molecule. Okay. Now, this is a simultaneous law of hydrogen water to give this imine molecule. Here, the ammonia is acting as a nucleophile. Now, when this imine is reacted with this hydrogen cyanide, so this is a simple reaction in which you can see this is like that, HCN. Okay. Now this cyanide is coming here, and H plus is going there, and giving NH2 here and C triple bond here. Okay. Now when this cyanide is hydrolyzed, it will give a geminal triol. It will hydrolyze from here. Okay. OH like that. OH and H, and this is OH and this is H. So giving a geminal triol like that, and we know that the geminal triols are highly unstable molecules, so it will simultaneously release a water molecule like that here, and this one is here. This is the water molecule, and giving C double bond OH. This is the carbonic acid. Okay. So this is the sticker synthesis for the synthesis of alpha amino acids using aldehyde and ammonium chloride, and finally simultaneously using hydrogen cyanide. Okay. Now the third procedure is Bucher-Box reaction. Now, what is Bucher-Box reaction? Here in Bucher-Box reaction, we are taking ketone as the synthon as a starting material, and this ketone is reacted with ammonium carbonate and potassium cyanide, and the solvent is a mixture of water and ethanol. Okay. Now, when this ketone is reacted with this ammonium carbonate and potassium cyanide, it gives a hydantoin intermediate. This is hydantoin intermediate, HYDANTOIN, hydantoin intermediate. And this hydantoin intermediate is hydrolyzed to give alpha amino acid. Okay. Now, how this hydantoin is formed? By the reaction of ketone and ammonium carbonate and this potassium cyanide, which is explained here. Now see, this is the ketone molecule, and this ketone is reacted with ammonium carbonate with an imine, and this imine is formed just like here. Okay, how it is formed? This ammonium carbonate can give ammonia, and this ammonia reacts with this ketone to give this imine. RCR double bond NH. This is an imine. Okay. Now, this imine is reacted with cyanide, and this is potassium cyanide, giving potassium cyanide ion, and this cyanide ion Cn minus will go here, and here we have NH minus, and this NH minus will accept protons from the system. This is ethanol over H2O, so we will accept proton from this system, it's from the solvent, and giving this cyanide intermediate. Okay. Now this cyanide reacts with carbon dioxide. Now, where does this carbon dioxide is coming from? This is also coming from this ammonium carbonate. Okay, so this carbon dioxide, so this ammonia is acting as a nucleophile here. So this ammonia is attacking on this carbon of carbon dioxide like that. And when this, and then it is converted into this NH. See, this is RCR, this is RCR, NH, this is NH2, this is NH2, and this is attached with this carbon, C double bond O minus, and Cn. Now here is internal proton transfer will occur, because here the partner is nitrogen, so it can release a proton from here. So it will release a proton from here, and this proton will come from here. This is the internal proton transfer from this NH to this O minus. Okay. Now after transferring the proton, this OH having a lone pair of electrons will cyclize by acting as a nucleophile and will attack on this finite carbon. So this is cyclization occurs. So this is OH, this is converted into OH plus and this C double bond N, and this option is attacked into this carbon atom N minus. Again, proton transfer will occur from here to here. This is internal proton transfer. This proton will become transferred from here to here. Now this is the intermediate one, intermediate. Now this is very important step. What is actually happening here? The reaction started from here. This C double bond N is ionized towards nitrogen, and simultaneously this bond will cleave, and this electron is from here to here. Now it will convert it into C double bond O. Okay, and this bond will cleave, and this N and C double bond O, this bond is converted into N double bond C. This bond is coming from here to here. Now here H plus is released, and this released H plus is coming to the NH plus NH minus sign, and it will convert into NH2. See, this is converted into NH2, and C double bond O, C double bond O here. R, C, R, R, C, R, C. This is nitrogen. This is N. This is the bond is shifting from here to here. And C double bond N, C double bond O. This is now again cyclization occurs. Now here this NH2 group is acting as a nucleophile and attacking on this isocyanate carbon R, and this R and CO, this carbon atom like that. So this bond will flip towards nitrogen atom, and this will react. This will attack. This nitrogen will attack from this carbon. So this is ultimately this NH2 group will be converted into NH. This is NH2. This is plus charge. C double bond O, C double bond O, and this nitrogen is getting a negative charge because it is accepting two lone pair electrons from here. This is nitrogen charge, and this is carbon C double bond O. Ultimately, internal proton transfer occurs. This proton is transferred from here to here, and this is converted into NHCr, C double bond O, NHCO. This is hydrogen. Okay. Now this hydrogen drawing is hydrolyzed. Hydrolysis of the hydrogen. How does it hydrolyze? It is hydrolyzed from this amide bond NHCO, NHCO. This is amide bond. It will undergo hydrolysis, acidic hydrolysis. So this will occur from here. OH will go towards carbon to carbon, and H will go towards the nitrogen atom, which is okay. So this is converted into NH2, and this is converted to COH, and again this carbon to carbon, and this NH, this bond is C double bond and C double bond, and undergo hydrolysis because this is a right bond. So H will go towards nitrogen, and OH will go towards this carbon. Now then it is converted to RCr, and this NH is converted into NH2, and this C double bond to H, and this is alpha, and this is S. We are getting alpha amino acid from here. So this mechanism is cited from, or this is mechanism referenced from Journal of Organic Chemistry, which is published in 1980, having volume 45, page number 2315. Another method for the synthesis of alpha amino acid is the azelectron synthesis, and this is a very important method. Actually, in this method, we use glycine as a starting material. You know, glycine is the very first amino acid. So, for starting from glycine, we can convert this glycine amino acid to a number of another amino acids by using this procedure. Actually, this glycine is acetylated. So, acetylation of this glycine is done. So, acetylation will occur at this NH2 molecule. We have performed this experiment at first year. If we acetylate, that is NH2 group or OH group, so it is easily acetylated. So the acetyl group will come over here. So this NH group is converted into NHCO, CH3 group. So here is the acetylation will occur. And after acetylation, this amino acid, this glycine molecule will convert into this acylated glycine, NHCOCH3. This COCH3 which is simply coming from this acetic anhydride, which is an acylating agent. You can also use acetaldehyde for this acetylation. Okay, either you use acetylation or acetic anhydride or acetaldehyde. So you will get this acylated glycine, but actually we prefer acetic anhydride. So after acetylation, so once it is acylated, it will undergo simultaneous cyclization. You will not get this acylated glycine molecule. It will automatically undergo cyclization. So it is undergoing cyclization like that. This carbonyl group is here and this molecule is here. It actually nucleophile. So this will act on this carbon, giving this C double bond O will convert into COH, and this is CH3 and then CH2CO, and now this OH is OH plus, and this is simultaneous deprotonation, and this H plus will come from here to this CO minus ion, and this is converted into OH. Okay. Then after formation of this molecule, it is undergo dehydration. OH minus and H plus from here, and this C and C double bond will convert into C double bond N, and this is CH3. And this is called as electron formation. So once you acetylate this glycine molecule, you always get this as electron. You will not get these intermediates. So acetylation of glycine always leads to the formation of this as electron. Now this as electron will serve as an intermediate for the formation of a variety of alpha amino acids, other alpha amino acids. Okay? And now we can see here this CH2 group is active methane group here. And in this CH2 group, this CH2 group, we can insert the amino acid side chain. Because why? Because this group will ultimately lead into the NH2 group. This group will give us NH2 group. And this group will give us COH group, and this is CH. Okay, CH, COH, and H2. This is alpha amino acid. Now our purpose to introduce the side chain, and for introducing side chain, here is the CH2 group, and which is flanked with electron withdrawing groups. So this is the active methylene group. So when we treat this active methylene group with a base, it will give carbonyl over here. Once we get this carbonyl, easily treat this carbonyl in any alkyl halide. So for the side chain you need, you design your side chain and put a halogen atom here, you will get the desired amino acid. Okay, so I have written simply RCH2X, X stands for this halogen atom. This will break like that and carbon will get positive charge, and this will attach from here to here and giving this intermediate. And this intermediate will undergo hydrolyzation, the acidic hydrolyzation, then it will hydrolyze under acidic condition. Now after hydrolyzing acidic condition, this is ester gone, so it will undergo hydrolysis, OH here, H here, this is the intermediate I have written here. Actually, these two molecules are not formed here. But I have just written here to understand you, so you can understand that. Now, under the hydrolyzation, now this is RCH2CH, RCH2CH is here, C double bond O, C double bond O, this is C double bond O, and OH is OH. Okay, this from this proton. Now, this CH is connected with this nitrogen and double bond C. Now, this is CH3 and OH from here. This is an enol type molecule, and you know that the enol molecule can be easily converted into carbonyl atom 1. This is converted to this one. RCH2CH, COH, NH. This is this will come from here to there. NH, COCH3, this is the acetyl group. And this acetyl group can be easily deprotected by acidic hydrolysis, and we have already given the acidic hydrolysis conditions. So ultimately, this acetyl group will undergo hydrolysis, acidic hydrolysis, and this bond will hydrolyze. This NH will convert it into NH2. So RCH2CH, RCH2CH, COH, and this NH is converted into NH2, and this acetic acid will go to the system. So ultimately we have this compound acid. So once we get this as electron intermediate, we can easily design and then synthesize our desired amino acids, any amino acids. Okay. One more thing, after getting this carbonide here, after this is the electron, when this electron with the base, this is sodium state with the base, we get this carbonide. Now we have two choices. Either we treat this as electron with this halides or treat with aldehyde. What the amino acid you desire, what you amino acid want to synthesize, it will depend. Either you give aldehyde here or this aldehyde here. Now, if you give this is aldehyde, what we have? This is a nucleophile. This nucleophile will attack on this carbon of aldehyde. And we will have this molecule RCHOH. Why this OH? Because when this carbonide is attacked here, this will form this one will form this, and the conditions are acidic conditions. So this will extract proton from the system or from the system solvent, because the solvent is either using water, ethanol mixture. So such type of solvents can give easily proton to this O minus sign, and it is converted to RCHOH and this one. Okay. Now, after getting this molecule, it will undergo simultaneous dehydration. Because H is here, this is dehydrated. After dehydration, RCH and this molecule, after formation of this molecule, will hydrolyze under acidic conditions and acidic hydrolysis, and after acid hydrolysis it is converted into RCH double bond C, COH, this is called COH, and then NH. NH is here, and after this is N, this is N, like that, just like that, N double bond C, N double bond will be there, and then CH3 and OH, and this is called this enol form is converted into this keto form after enol ligation, just like here. Okay. So this acetylated product is formed. Now our only aim to remove this C double bond C. So this is hydrogenated over PD. So it will form RCH2 CHCOH, and after hydrogenation, this is further hydrolyzed under acidic condition. This acidity will be removed from here. This is deprotected and will convert into this amino acid. So this is another method, a very important method for the synthesis of alpha amino acids. A very easy method, very mild reaction conditions. So this method is very important method for the synthesis of alpha amino acids starting from this glycine molecule. Okay. Now this is all about the synthesis of alpha amino acids. Now see, we have synthesized the alpha amino acids, and we know that all the alpha amino acids except except the glycine have one chiral carbon. Okay, and we know that the molecules which have only one chiral carbon, they must be optically active, and then they rotate the plane pole right towards right hand side or left hand side. They may be dextrorotatory or they may be levorotatory. Okay. Now here, when we synthesize the amino acids, there is an equal probability of the formation of all these alpha amino acids we synthesize. Okay. Equal probability of formation of the two enantiomers, because it has a chiral carbon atom. So there is a probability of either it will form S R form or it will form S form. Okay. So either the form will be S conjugation or the form will be R conjugation, or in other words we can say that there are equal probability of the formation of dextrorotatory as well as levorotatory molecule. And we know that when we mix, we combine the two enantiomers in equal amounts, the form the combination formed or the resulting mixture formed is called racemic modification or racemic mixture, and that racemic mixture is not going to be optically active. However, it has a symmetric carbon, it has no element of symmetry. It must be optically active, but it should be optically active, but there is optical inactivity. It is due to internal compensation. Okay, why the molecule is optically inactive? Because we have mixed two enantiomers equal amount. Well, now suppose one enantiomer rotates the plane polarized light towards right hand direction at 45 degree, that is plus, that is D or plus is 45 degree. At the same time, the enantiomer will rotate the plane polarized light towards left hand side at 45 degree. So the net optical rotation is 0 degree. So such molecules are not going to be optically active. So here the optical inactivity is due to the internal compensation of the molecule. Okay. Now, but we need optically active enantiomer. We don't need the racemic mixture. We need pure L form, because we know that all the naturally amino acids are L amino acids. So we need this L form in pure form. So we have to isolate, we have to separate out these R and S forms. Okay? So what is the separation of what are the methods of separation of amino acids? We know there are lots of methods for the separation of amino acids, and which is known as resolution. That is the separation of amino acids or the separation of enantiomers from a racemic mixture. The separation of enantiomers from a racemic mixture is called resolution. So out of the lots of methods, we always use chemical resolution. Now what is chemical resolution? In this chemical resolution, we use one property of that is optically active compounds. We know that all the optically active compounds have same physical properties, because optically active compound, enantiomer, you can say enantiomer. All the enantiomers have same physical properties except one physical property, and that physical property is action towards plane polarized light. If one enantiomer rotates the plane polarized light towards right hand direction, that is the direct rotation, if then at the same time another enantiomer will rotate the plane polarized light towards the opposite direction, that is left hand side or anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so this is the only property, physical property of the enantiomer which varies. Then again, all the enantiomers have same chemical properties. All the enantiomers have same chemical property except one chemical property, that is reaction with optically active compounds. We know that if we react the enantiomer to an optically active compound, they form diisomers. Okay, and we also know that diisomers have different physical and different chemical property, so these diisomers can be easily separated out. So we will use this chemical property of the enantiomer over here. Now, what you see, what is the reaction point? So before designing the chemical reaction or before separating the racemic mixture, we have to search easily reacting functional group onto the molecule, which after reaction can easily be recovered. Okay, so in this amino acid molecule, we know that this COH group is acidic in nature. It can give COH, it can give H plus side to a base easily. So when amino acids exist in solid form, they are in solid when there is COH and NH2, and when they are in solution, when they told that it will be plus or minus form. Okay, they are not going to exist in this form. They are going to exist in ionic form, it will be cationic form, anionic form, or deuterionic form, whatever. But they are going to be exist in ionic form in solution. Okay. So when this racemic modification having a mixture of R and S or D or L is reacted with this chiral base, which is minus R10. This is L-spartan. L-spartan means optical rotation is the levo rotation. Levo-rotatory spartan is the chiral base. It's the base which is chiral in nature. So when enantiomers react with a chiral molecule, they form diastereomers. Now this is very simple. This is a base, it will extract proton from here. Okay? Now this point, this nitrogen will extract proton from here. After extracting proton, this nitrogen is going to be quaternized. This nitrogen is going quaternized over here. And what will happen? This is converted into RCH, NH2, and CO minus. Now this is one enantiomer. Okay? And another one will form this form. So this is R form and this is S form of the salt. Because this is a salt. This is a base, this is the acid. When acid or base react together, they form a salt. So this is a salt, this is another salt. But what is the relationship between these two salts? They are diastereomers. So this is the property of the enantiomers. When they react with the optically active compound, they form diastereomers. So this is one diastereomer, this is R. If this is R and this is S, you can see this is 1, 2, 3. This periodic group is back side, this is R, this will be S. The other this periodic group is front side, which is S. This is R molecule, this is S molecule, and this is again is a salt. This molecule is same here. This will be also here. Okay? And when this is acidified, it will get back its proton. Now they are separated out. First of all, before acidifying them, they are separated out. And they may be easily separated out, either by column cryptography or some other method or by recrystallization. They can be easily separated out because they are diastereomers, and diastereomers have different physical and different chemical properties. So they are easily separated out. After separating them, hydrolyze them, simply acidify them. So if we acidify them, it will get back its proton. So this form will give R enantiomer, and we will have S enantiomer. So this is the method for the separation of amino acids when they are synthesized. Because all the method we have discussed will give a racemic mixture, that is racemic modification. So all the method we have discussed are racemic methods. So racemic synthesis. They are not chiral synthesis of the amino acids, they are racemic synthesis. So we have to separate out, we have to separate them. So this is the method by which we can separate these enantiomers. Okay. Now, a very basic property of the amino acid which we use for identifying them and as well as to separate out them, that is by electrophoresis. Okay? And after separating, for the separation of these amino acids mixture, we in electrophoresis we use a visualizing agent, which I have already told you that this is ninhydrin. When we were talking about the separation of the amino acid, I told you that the amino acid is spotted on a filter paper, and that filter paper is dipped into a solution or kept into a solution, and then electric field is applied over there. After applying electric field, we know that the positively charged amino acid will migrate towards the negatively charged electrode, and the negatively charged amino acid will migrate towards the positive charged electrode, and it is electrically neutral, that is deuterionic form, that is not going to migrate. By this way they are separated out into the filter paper. But how can we visualize them? After separation, we spray ninhydrin solution. We know that ninhydrin reacts with the amino acid and they form a purple color complex, and this complex is clearly visible. Okay? Now, what is the mechanism of the formation of this purple color complex? Okay? So the mechanism will start from here. This NH2, the nucleophile, will get over here. Okay? Now this CO minus and this will convert into CO minus, and this NH2 will attach to this carbon and will convert into the NH2 plus, and after proton transfer will occur. So here NH and here will be OH, and here OH, here NH. Further release of water molecule will be there. So after releasing a water molecule, this will be formed. This is C double bond N CH CHR COH. Now this step is very important step. See, here is one carbon dioxide molecule is released. The release of the carbon dioxide molecule. The force of detection started from here. See, this one polarized, this form is from here to here. Then this C single bond O C and CC bond is break. This is break, and this bond C double bond O. So this is the C bond now, and this H plus will come here to this carbon is oxygen, and this is converted into OH. Double bond C and C. After that, this molecule is in enol form, is going back into the keto form, and this keto form is hydrolyzed. After hydrolysis, you can see this is hydrogen, two water molecule will be consumed here, and this is that is a more electronegative atom. This is so the hydrogen will come here, HOH. This is to form the geminal diol. Now this geminal diol ultimately will release a water molecule and give this RCO aldehyde. Okay, and we have this molecule. This NH2 molecule, NH2 will again attack on the carbon of the main hydrogen, and we have this NH2 will convert into, after proton transfer, NH, and this will convert into OH. Again, a loss of water molecule, and we have this molecule. So this is a molecule, final molecule, and it can enolize in this form. This is a simple enolization.